This year marks the 100th anniversary of the death of the Pre-Raphaelite artist John William Waterhouse. Waterhouse is perhaps most popularly remembered for his painting The Lady of Shalott, but it's another of his works that I'd like to take you on an investigation of in order to reveal the mystery that lies within John William Waterhouse's The Magic Circle. Last year, I was casually looking at a postcard of the Magic Circle propped up on my dressing table in our bedroom when my husband commented, rather flippantly, that he thought he could see the face of Jesus in the picture. After a short while, I could see what he meant, with one caveat. Having some familiarity with Waterhouse, knowing he wore a beard and had strong aquiline features, I didn't immediately connect the image to Robert Powell's iconic portrayal of Jesus, but to Waterhouse himself. The more we looked at the small postcard, the more it became apparent. What puzzled me was why I'd never seen this referenced or even suggested in anything that I'd read about Waterhouse. After all, the picture is entitled The Magic Circle. It has as one of its themes occultism, a natural counterpoint to Christianity, and by the late 19th century there was a well-established school of thought which perceived pagan religion and Christianity as belonging on the same continuum of pantheism, the belief that God and creation are one and the same. A face, whether Waterhouse's own or that of Christ, would surely have been remarked upon before, even if this was, as I first thought at the time, a simple case of pareidolia. Now, this bit is the part that's actually hardest to get across on the computer screen. And it is, of course, the whole point of this film, so that does make things a bit tricky. However, bear with us, and we think that over the course of the next 10 minutes or so, the background research we've done and the practical experiments we've made do present a fairly compelling argument that the face in the picture is not there by accident. Now, of course, the only real way we have of testing the theory would be to somehow get to view the original painting in the conditions that we think it needs in order for that extra dimension to really pop. So, here comes our pitch. My husband made the first breakthrough. This is the postcard. It measures 125mm by 85mm. We saw the image at a distance of 2.8 meters, so he calculated that to see the image in the postcard, you had to be viewing the card 23 times the height of the picture away. That's just the distance from the headboard of our bed to the dressing table where we first noticed the postcard. A quick search of the internet indicated that according to the TATE Gallery, the actual picture area measures over 1.8 meters by 1.2, effectively man-sized. So, according to my husband's rough calculation, if the appearance of the hidden image depended on viewing distance, and the physics for that scaled up, you'd have to be standing over 40 meters away from the full-size picture to have a chance of seeing the effect, whether through random pareidolia or by design. Well, we straight away made plans to visit the picture in the TATE Gallery to determine if this was true. However, our hearts quickly sank. According to the website, the picture was not on display. But although the Magic Circle was not on display to the public, it was at the TATE Gallery Storage Centre in Southwark, so we made an application to see the picture there.
Right, here we are at the TATE storeroom, and we're about to go in.
Unfortunately, although we were able to get up very close and see detail not discernible in any poster, or even when the painting is behind glass, we were unable to view it from more than a few meters away, making it impossible to prove or disprove our theory at that time. What we did do, however, was to buy a half-size poster and view it outdoors. What we found was that the image did indeed become clear at around the 40-metre mark, far further than it's been viewed in any gallery to our knowledge. I wonder if you can start to see it right here.
The magic circle was first displayed here at the Royal Academy as part of the 1886 exhibition. It was an important work, being part of the Chantry bequest, and was featured in the exhibition catalogue with a full-page lithograph. Key to our investigation is that it was displayed in gallery number 5, which is one of the smaller gallery rooms, measuring 11 metres by 6. Gallery 5 being the size that it is, regardless of the face effect being through pareidolia or design, it wouldn't have provided the viewing distance required to see the effect. Added to that, the viewing conditions at the Royal Academy exhibition would have been darker, more crowded and smokier and more dimly lit than even the height of the summer season at Burlington House sees now. In his commentary for the sale of one of the 2 Magic Circle studies by Christie's in 2009, Peter Trippi described the study as noticeably duskier than the final version. It's likely, he says, that Waterhouse decided to lighten his palette so the scene could be more easily discerned in the crowded, unevenly lit Academy. Of course, it could be that the lightening of the palette had nothing to do with the need for it to stand out at the Royal Academy, and much more to do with having the hidden face effect fully realised. Waterhouse did many preliminary sketches for his works, some of which we viewed at the Victoria and Albert Drawings and Prints Room. One, unfortunately not in that collection, is a sepia one of what would become the Magic Circle. I think it's pretty clear from this sketch that the cliff the witch is looking at is in fact a profile of a face. And if the proportions are mapped against another sketch by Waterhouse from the V&A collection of a human face, it becomes even more apparent. Now, clearly the Magic Circle sketch is very different from the finished work. However, the sketch does provide evidence that Waterhouse was thinking that way, as his painting evolved with the adoption of the influence and style of French plein air painting, like that of Jules Bastien Lepage. And we certainly have precedent for faces being added to landscapes in this way. It's something that Harry Furness, the contemporary satirical cartoonist, picked up on in this cartoon depicting Lord Leighton's profile in a rock face, satirising the academician Peter Graham's work, The Sea-Girt Crags. It's also very possible that Waterhouse's contemporaries saw more than we do now. We are quite excited today because in the post we have had from America a parcel, and this is our copy of Connoisseur magazine from May 1973, and in it we're hoping to see an illustration by Harry Furness. Now, Harry Furness was a contemporary of John Waterhouse. He was known for doing satirical sketches and studies, and this one, we've heard an interesting description. It's set in a wash house. We've heard that it's got a face in it in the background, possibly within something like a soap bubble. I almost can't find the article, there's so many adverts, but it's rather lovely. Oh! Harry Furness, The Magic Circle, or There's Nothing Like a Lather by Soap and Waterhouse. And you know what? Actually, this is brilliant. That's the Magic Circle, as we know. This is the Furness illustration. Look at that. That's brilliant. This is the cauldron, isn't it? Her wash tub. Here she is. She's making the same triangles. Look at that. We've got this triangle going on. We've got this kind of odd thing going on with her plaits that don't seem quite natural. That's kind of makes me think a little bit of this smoke going straight up in a line. But you know what? Can you see this? In the top here, in the soap bubble, coming up from the steam in the wash tub is a kind of head and shoulders portrait. I mean, very clear. It's saying something. It's definitely some kind of, it's saying something. It's some kind of in-joke. And I mean, just look at the title.
The Magic Circle, or There's Nothing Like a Lather by Soap and Waterhouse. So we're looking at something which is contemporary with Waterhouse, we think. And look at that, look at the composition. There's a face in the steam, in the soap bubble. I mean, well, that's to me something a little bit, a bit of Millet in that as well, perhaps, in that little portrait. I don't know who the face is. It looks like a kind of rather curly-headed blonde young boy, but it's a face in the picture. Now that's sort of magic, isn't it? At the time, contemporary commentary on the caricature The Magic Circle, or There's Nothing Like a Lather by Soap and Waterhouse, focused on it both as a pun and as a comment on the commercialisation of the Pre-Raphaelites, in particular the Pears soap advert, making use of Millet's bubbles. However, like Waterhouse's pictures, Furness's parody may well be working on many levels, and the protagonist in the cartoon is very clearly looking at a face, and items did not appear in Furness cartoons by accident. Furness would have thoroughly researched the picture he was parodying, and as a contemporary he may have been privy to information concerning the work not widely known at the time. Given the timing of the original publication in Punch, it is possible that he saw the Magic Circle in a different environment prior to its actual unveiling at the Academy. Another contemporary account provides an interesting take on the Magic Circle. Rose Sketchley wrote an essay in the Art Annual, the Christmas number of the Art Journal, in 1909, which focused on Waterhouse. About the Magic Circle, she wrote that the work belongs more closely to the artist himself, and that the personal element is apparent not simply as well-considered choice of this or that appropriate device, but in the discernment of what the visible aspect may imply beyond the immediate effect. Some people believe that Rose was a confidant of Waterhouse, so this may have been a hint at the true nature of the Magic Circle. So, having made an argument as to whether or not Waterhouse painted a face in the Magic Circle, we need to look now to see how it may have been done and who it represented. These are the Primrose Hill Studios. They were designed and built in 1877 as dedicated artist spaces. A community became established which included Waterhouse's friend William Logsdale. This image by an unknown artist depicts Waterhouse at the very centre of the Primrose Hill studio clique. Waterhouse lived here from 1878, first in number 3, and then a decade later he moved into number 6. The studio's purpose-built nature helped him work on much larger canvases, such as he did with the Magic Circle. Robert Upton, curator of the Tate, has speculated that Waterhouse sometimes worked in the courtyard studio, as William Logsdale often did. The studio in number 3 would not have been large enough for Waterhouse to be able to paint the Magic Circle and step far enough back, between 20 to 30 metres, to see how he was doing. It is, of course, possible that he painted outside, as he did with the Lady of Shalott, and the courtyard is large enough to get the required viewing distance to see the effect as he painted it. A large mirror could, of course, have doubled the focal distance, just like the mirror does when you have an eye test, and this would have enabled him to see what he was painting. We don't have any descriptions of Waterhouse's studio, but we do know he worked with large mirrors as part of his compositions. Waterhouse was friends with Lawrence Alma Tadema, who of course was very experienced in using photography to enhance his art, and who could have provided a base photo, and also some kind of camera obscura technique, perhaps. This technique came to recent popular attention when artist David Hockney wrote about it in his book Secret Knowledge, Rediscovering the Lost Techniques of the Old Masters. So, whose features did he draw on for the depiction of the face? Well, interestingly, if you flip this colorized picture of Waterhouse, as it would be in a mirror, the key cue points at this 3/4 view angle, the set of the eyes, the length of the nose, for example, do match comparative areas in the Magic Circle. Could it even be based on this exact photo?
we've no way to genuinely date it more accurately than it having been taken sometime between 1884 and 1890. Well, just before Christmas, we took another opportunity to view the original painting at the British Library as part of its Harry Potter, A History of Magic exhibition.
So, we have just been to see the Magic Circle again at the Harry Potter History of Magic exhibition here at the British Library. And once again, it's quite tantalising. The painting is on display in a fairly small room. It's dimly lit. The farthest away you can get from the painting is about 6 or 7 metres, and it's also displayed under glass, which is reflecting the light around it and reflecting a sculpture that's exhibited right opposite. So it's a little bit difficult, given that as well, to see. Interestingly, I think that when you are that close to it, 6 or 7 metres away, if you really want to strain to see what we think we're looking for, I think your eye and your mind can create that, and that you can see some kind of face that close up. And I think that is an effect of pareidolia, because it's very different from how you might see it if you were standing 20 metres away, at least 3 times as far away as we can see it now, which is when we think that you can see the face represented in a much more subtle and slightly differently composed way. So there it is, we've seen it again, and I just wish that we could see it out in the open and much further away. There it is.